Hi there, it's Sam from Pootles.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today's project is this one. It's a little treat box for some beautiful foiled chocolate balls. Very sweet. There's, oh, I don't know how many in there, 10 in there. Lovely, so cute. And they are very easily available at this time of year, but people don't, we do celebrate other things at this time of year. There are birthdays around there are anniversaries, there's all sorts. So I wanted to make a little treat using a seasonal sweetie, but in a non-seasonal way. So I'm going to show you how to make it. And you need a piece of paper that measures 6 by 6. Now this was from the Merry Moments Designer Series paper stack. Obviously it's got spots on it, you wouldn't know it was Christmassy. I decided I was going to do a different variation of it, and I'm using the Pretty Petals paper, which is just gorgeous. I love it, you all know I love it. So, there we go. So 6 by 6, 15. Well, if you're going to make a metric version of it, you want to trim your paper down to 14.5 by 14.5, just so that it makes life easier for when you're cutting and scoring and what have you. You can still fit 10 chocolates in it though. So what you need to do is set your paper so that it looks the right way up. Sorry, so that it's the wrong way up, because although this box is going to open that way, we're actually setting it so that the pattern goes the other way, so that the ribbon and the decoration goes like that. So you need to turn your paper away from you, and you score it at 1 inch and 5 inches, which is 2.5 and 12.5 centimetres. Now turn it so that it's the correct way up, and you score it at 1, 2.5, 3.5 and 4. I'm reading the wrong measurements. 1, 2.5, 3.5 and 5, which is 2.5, 6, 8.5 and 12. I'm reading the finished dimensions of it to you. Finished dimensions of it. 1 by 1.5 by 4 inches, which is 2.5 by 3.5 by 9.5 centimetres. That was painful, wasn't it? Okay, so let me just move my scoring tool out of the way. So I'm going to fold on the score lines, which I can't see, but there we go. Keep folding them. The lighting is terrible, and it's a very typical October wintry autumnal day today. It's throwing it down with rain. My lighting is rubbish. So when you fold it up, it will close. It will close and open that way, but when you've put the ribbon and decoration and what have you, it will be that way. Clever. Okay, so let me see what you can see. You can't see a thing, so let's get a pen out and show you where the score lines are. I can't see them at all. There's the score lines. Oh, you still can't see those. Probably a thicker pen would have been useful. There we go. So there's your score lines, and they are mirror imaged down there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cut those 4 lines and notch very slightly into these squares. There are 3 squares on each side, so you're going to notch slightly into those. So I'm going to do the opposite side, so you can keep an eye on that while I'm doing this. Seriously, I can barely see this. Okay, so can you see what I've done now? I've cut up on those lines, so I'm just going to come along and do that now. I have no idea if those are straight or not on those ones that I coloured in. There's a good chance they're not. So that's it done, all trimmed up. So now what I want to do is put the box together. So I'm going to turn it over, and the 6 little squares, that's where we're going to put the adhesive. So I seriously can't see these score lines. This paper is so beautiful to look at, but possible to work with. On camera anyway. Right, so what we need to do is put our box base together, and that is going to be, when you're looking at the pattern in the correct fashion, this section here to the right is the base. So you fold an end under the rectangle and then the middle one under that same rectangle, and then repeat on the opposite side. And again, that's a middle one, that's going to go under that same rectangle. I didn't trim that down enough. Oh no, I did, I just wasn't looking properly. Okay, and then this part remains as the lid. So those tabs also go under the rectangles. And that is the box made. So obviously we're going to decorate it up, and it's going to be in the correct way round. I do want to put a little handy doodah there. So I've got my 3/4 inch circle punch and just a little notch in. Just a little bit, just to help you open it. Obviously I've got to put my chocolate balls in. So, and I get mine from Amazon. And you can buy them in single colours, individual colours, mixed colours, which is what I've done. I didn't get enough out. So it's just I don't even remember how many bags. 500 gram bag. Stick another one in. Wrap it up. Put the ribbon round. So this is the Very Vanilla subtle striped ribbon. And I'm going to do my very best to tie a pretty knot. Oh, look at that. I managed it. Ish. It's a bit scruffy there, but you know, at least these parts are sitting on top. Okay, so that's that bit done. So I want to do a little bit of decoration, of course. So I've got some Very Vanilla cardstock. I have got the Endless Thanks stamp set, which is this one. It's so lovely. I've got the thank you already prepped up, and then some Calypso Coral ink, because that's the paper, that's the colour that's in the background. So I'm going to stamp that. I've handily remembered that I forgot to get my sponges out, so I'm just going to grab that while I remember, because I need to do a little bit of punching. So this one I'm going to punch with the 1 3/8 inch circle punch, and it fits just nicely round it. And then I want to put some Calypso Coral with the 1 1/2 inch punch. Ooh, let's catch that before it lands on the floor. Another circle in Very Vanilla, 1 3/4 inch this time. And then 3 little flowers from the Itty Bitty Shapes punch pack. Oh, that one did land on the floor. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to sponge the edges of everything apart from... Actually, I might do that one. I re-inked all my ink pads a few days ago, and the colour is very strong. Some of them are very thirsty ink pads. My son Jacob, he came and gave me a hand. It's my 7-year-old, he's the one who's always crafting with me. Loves it. Actually, I will put a little bit on there. And he just thought it was a while of time to get absolutely covered in ink, which is because he was doing... I re-inked, I put my drips of ink in the ink pad, and then he was the one going backwards and forwards with the bone folder to get it all spread out. And yeah, he had a blast. Absolutely whale of a time. Okay, so my 3 little flowers, I want to lift them up a little bit. If you haven't seen this before, it's a very clever technique. You take the back of a bone folder, back of a paper pierce or something with a rounded edge, and you push it vertically straight down into the centre of your flower, and it gives it 3D elevation but keeps the shape of it, the shape of the petals. It doesn't crease it at all. So I'll have some pearls in the centre. And I can start putting everything together. So I'm going to use dimensionals on the back of the sentiment. So that one's going on top of the Calypso Coral Circle, one on the back of there, onto the Scallop Circle. I'm going to use some fuse on the back of this to stick it straight onto the box. There, and then those 3 I'm going to pick up with mini glue dots and just position them everywhere really. So one there. Where should I put another one? Down here? Yeah. And then this one just off there. And that's my pretty little box made. I think I might trim that down a little bit, it's a bit too wide. That's better. There we go. Tiny little chocolate box. Perfect for any occasion. Anyway, thank you ever so much for joining me, and I hope to speak to you soon.